Hi, everyone. For those who weren't able to attend the meeting upon yesterday, I wanted to send a bunch of slides just for you all, just so you can see where we're going, where we're headed. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, either by email or just give me a call, and I'll be able to answer those questions for you. So, for time, let's just go ahead and get started. If you're new to the youth group, you may not be aware that we do have core values and a group motto. If you are in this youth group for a couple of years, you may know what those core values are. Either way, this will serve as a good reminder or good instruction for all of us. So our core values, one would be our first is connection. I think it's very important that our kids feel a sense of connection to God as well as to other teens into this group and other youth adults. That's extremely important. And one of my goals is to make sure that all of our teenagers have a sense of connection in regards to this youth group. Through connection, I believe that connection leads to growth. Growth in our understanding, growth in our relationship with God. And I think that's an essential part. All living things grow. And we do believe that we are living creation, that we have a living God living within us. And so we want to be able to see our teenagers on a trajectory of growth. And through growth, we see purpose. I want all of our teens to understand their purpose in the kingdom, to be able to identify and utilize their spiritual gifts. It's very important that our kids understand that they, at this point, at their age, have a role in the kingdom. And pretty much that boils down to your life is to glorify God. And so our three core values of connection, growth, and purpose leads to our group motto of living what we believe. Living what we believe. It is a scientific and a spiritual fact that what you believe, you will then live. We make actions based on what we believe. We make decisions based on what we believe. So I believe it's extremely important for our kids to live within that motto of living what we believe. As we started this whole thing, I told the kids, we started this whole COVID season, I told all the kids the only way we're going to get through this is two ways. One, holding on to Jesus, which is the most important. And two, being adaptable. And being adaptable doesn't mean fitting in, but being adaptable means that you adjust to the situations that are taking place. And I think our teens have done a beautiful job of being able to adjust in many ways, whether it's at church or in school, in society, going to the grocery store. Our teens have adapted, and so have our families in many ways. And so I'm very thankful to lead a group that has been willing to adapt even in this chaotic season. So I want to give you a snapshot of what we're currently doing within our youth group on Sunday mornings and even on Wednesday evenings. And our Sunday morning worship has been great. It's primarily teen-led. Teens are doing the preaching, they're leading the praise, communion, prayer, scripture reading, etc. They're doing the whole nine, and I have been very excited and very proud of them. Our teens are going to learn more from preparing to lead than listening to me talk for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, even though I like to talk to them and I think that's needed, but to empower them to be in a position of leadership is very, very important in our youth group and in our church. The more we can get them ingrained into participating actively in our worship service, I do believe that as they grow and get older, they will be able to make the choice and decision on what they feel like they're being led to do as they grow into being an adult and being an active participant as well. Sometimes we have small group sessions Sunday mornings where we might have an abbreviated worship, but to create that connection piece, that small group piece, we have some small group sessions where they get in huddles and have conversations and talk. I think that's been very important for our group as well. And we do spiritual formation exercises, letter writing. They have time of solitude where they spread out and go sit by themselves and reflect on a question or a passage of scripture. Because I do believe that self-examination is very important, very important. And also our seating is socially distanced as well as mask wearing. So those things have been a good blessing for our group. And I look forward to continuing to grow on that and watching their growth in that as well. Wednesday evening Bible class. I mean, we have been meeting weekly on Zoom throughout this entire ordeal. Even back in March with the original shutdown, if it was meeting on Instagram or Facebook Live, and that has transitioned to our Zoom group meetings. And we've had conversations of the wilderness experience that the Israelites faced in Exodus. We've studied a line by line study in the book of John, and we're currently in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs is a great book for teenagers to study. One, because it is written to a young audience, a younger demographic. There's 31 books in Proverbs, and they have the opportunity to read that. And we've been doing some exercises of what is God calling us to do and what is God calling us to stay away from. So I think the book of Proverbs is a good study for all of us, but specifically for teenagers as well. Starting in a couple of weeks, we will have a new study in the spring. We'll be studying the letters to the seven churches of Asia. That's written in Revelations 2 and 3. Jesus, through the vision given to John, is writing to these churches, and we're going to internalize that and read those and start to think of ways, what is Jesus saying to us? Not to us as Bammel, but to us as teenagers, us as a youth group. What is God calling us to? So another opportunity for us to lean into what God is saying and have some self-examination with that. I've been very pleased of the consistent attendance. Mostly our middle school kids and our 9th and 10th grade high school kids are attending. A few of our upper class high school kids are attending, and that's perfectly okay. A lot of my upper class high school kids have jobs, extracurricular activities that they're engaging with. But I'm more focused on them living out what they've learned or what they're learning. So having this opportunity to pour into our middle school kids, our younger high school kids has been a blessing for me. Here are a couple of images of what Sunday mornings typically look like. As we can see, we're in the teen center, we're in the Rock. It's been great to utilize that space. We have social distance seating by chairs, mask wearing unless you are on stage preaching or leading praise or giving a prayer. But it's been really, really good. So I kind of want to give an image of what Sunday mornings do look like during this time frame, and I've been very pleased with our kids being able to adapt and adjust throughout this as well. But even in that, we've been able to do some really good things as a youth group. Teens in Turkey 2020, I mean, we fed over 200 families. We had a lot of kids who came out to serve that day. And we had a lot of families that came out to serve. The lines were packed all the way through the Manna parking lot and all the way through to our main parking lot at one point. So I was very thankful that even in this time, we found a way to be a blessing to our community. We also had a Christmas party in 2020 where we were outside under the pavilion. The pavilion has been a blessing, which we're going to utilize that even more through the spring and the summer. And we were able to do things a little bit similar to what they used to be in the past, but also add some new wrinkles to it. But it was a lot of fun for our kids to come out and engage with that. And even during the Advent season of Christmas, we had our own Advent season, and our kids did a tremendous job of leading that primarily. I led them through the lessons of Advent, but it was a really good experience for us to kind of recreate or create our own sense of Advent in the teen center. So there are some things that I'm wanting to keep, and our youth group worship time is one of them. Now, whether that is, it won't be an every week thing, but maybe a once a month or a couple of times a quarter. But I'm definitely looking forward to keeping our youth group worship time going on into the future. I think it's very important that they have the opportunity to lead more than just the one Sunday a year during senior Sunday or whenever someone gets up there, but to create some consistency to equip them to be an edifying part of the church is very, very important for me. And even the Wednesday night Zoom meetings. I don't know what Wednesday nights are going to look like for our church in the future, but having people who don't have the ability to physically get here or physically get to a place to have a time where they can still use technology, tune in, I think is very, very important. So we have learned some things during this COVID period that I believe are very important, and that we want to be able to continue to utilize those things as we continue to grow as a youth group. So that's pretty much some of the things that we've been doing. Here are some of the things that are coming up that we are going to be doing. So Bammel Family Day, Tabitha and I, the Children's and Youth Ministry, came together and want to just create a fellowship opportunity. So Saturday, March 13th, which is the Saturday before our spring retreat, not spring retreat, our what do they call that? Spring break. There it is. Spring break from 11 o'clock to 1. We'll be able to come outside the teen center under the pavilion and have a great day full of fun activities, food, and fellowship. We will have some safety protocols in place. We want to create an environment where people can come, engage, have some fellowship, have opportunities to be with one another in a safe way. And that's been one of the biggest strains on many of us, is that the lack of connection, the lack of community. So we're hoping that this can be a really good day to come out and see some familiar faces and get a sense of some fun and some fellowship. On March 21st, the Sunday after spring break, our teens will be starting their tribe group. For those who don't know, tribe for the youth group is like our life group. It will be outdoors only at the Bammel Teen Center, and it's built for games and spiritual formation. Parents are welcome to come as well and gather. I know it's not one of those things where, you may want to drop your kid off and then go back and come back. And if you want to hang out and have a group with some other parents, I'm a part of a parent life group. And so if there are parents who want to gather outdoors as well while the kids are playing and having their groups, you can definitely do that. The safety measures for our youth group tribe, like I said, will be an outdoor fellowship. We will create a rotation of teams between games and group discussions. So whether, depending on how many people show up, I might break the kids up by grade group, I might break them up by high school, middle school, but the goal is to keep a rotation of teams broken up where you can have a group of teams playing games, a group of teams in discussion group, and then they can switch, they can flip-flop. So that's going to be an important piece for us to kind of continue to have that done in a safe way as we continue to progress and get back together in some things. The goal is to keep the games with teams spread out and constantly moving. Discussion time will be socially distant seating and mask wearing, and we will also have hand sanitizing and hand washing as well. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to getting the teams back together in a fun capacity and continuing to grow with them through this time. On Wednesday, April 14th, we have an experience for a night of worship. This will be in the Bammel Teen Center from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And earlier on that day, David Fraze is coming to Houston. He's going to be speaking to youth ministers. And he connected with me and wanted to have something where, he wanted to talk to our teens. And so I told him absolutely. For those who don't know David Fraze is an associate professor at LCU. And he's been in youth group for over 30 years. Been involved with different ministries like Sticky Faith, Youth Specialties, the Fuller Institute, and so many more. So he will be a blessing to our teens, and he's going to be the guest speaker that evening. But I also wanted to add an element of worship as well. So we have Nicholas Paul Dunbar, who's going to come over and lead worship for us that evening. Nicholas is the worship leader at West Houston, a good friend of mine. So he's going to come over and lead our teens in worship that evening. So Wednesday, April 14th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. 6:30 to 7 will be games and fellowship, a great time for our kids to just kind of come together. And then from 7 o'clock and 8, we'll start our worship time. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to another opportunity to give our kids to be poured into. I also want to encourage your teenagers to invite friends. I want to empower our teens to be evangelistic and also grow in their discipleship and inviting their friends to church, inviting their friends into their world here at Bammel. And so invite their friends. We're going to have a good night of worship. It's going to be encouraging, and I look forward to that being a blessing as well. Moving on to Bammel Night Live. As you think of Bammel Night Live, you think about being in the Teen Center in the Rock. You think about live performances. You think about food, you think about tables, you think about fun, you think about all those things. And we'll be able to do a lot of those things at Bammel Night Live. But with our current situation, as you've heard so many times before, things will look different, okay? It will be Saturday, April 24th. The time is to be determined. I don't want to do too early in the morning. I don't want to do too late in the evening. I think trying to get people back up here on Sunday evening is a mistake. So it will be Saturday. I'm leaning more to the 1 to 3 o'clock time frame. And it will be a market style event. So imagine tables outside under the pavilion. With the auction items or the sale items on tables for people to purchase and bid on. We will have live entertainment, no actual performances, no tickets or food will be served, but the donation link will be prompted on our social media pages, our online worship, and I do think that we're going to have a lot of people who support us through that fashion, even if they are not physically in person. We will have Bammel Youth t-shirts sold, and those orders will begin on March 28th. And so there's different ways and opportunities that we're going to do this, but I think we're going to do it in fun and also safe ways. Now, regarding the auction items, I want to walk you through what that will look like because this will also look a little bit different. But I think the way we're going to do it is going to be able to generate even just as much money or more money than we've had in the past. And so I want to do buy it now pricing for baked goods. The sale of those prices will be well above the cost. I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a good deal, Bammel Night Live is not what you want to come to, right? So all the sale prices will be well above cost. Now, baked goods will be marketed by type, and so it won't be where one person makes cookies and then another person makes cookies and they're sold separately. No, we will have groups. Cookies, cakes, pies, etc. And then you'll have 5 baked goods per type, 5 baked items per type. So for example, I like to use Kamal always has a pie every year. He sells 1 pie and it typically goes for, around $100 for a pie. And so versus having just 1 pie that goes for $100, we'll have 5 pies where people can purchase those for a large amount. And the hope is that will create more engagement around higher priced items versus having one high priced item and the others go for $15, $20 or whatever that price may be. Moving on, crafts and artwork. We have teens who love to do craft. We have a lot of even adults at Bammel who love to do crafts or different artwork. Those will be auctioned off but still have a buy it now option. Again, the starting bid price will be well above the cost of the item. Service work like lawn care, pressure washing, even babysitting, things like that. Those will be priced as a buy it now, but it will be for multiple orders. In the past, we've had, some of our teens have, they do their lawn service or babysitting, and it's more like you buy it, they auction it off for one person, and that's it. Once that one person purchases it, that's it. What we're going to do is multiple orders. So if we have a teen who wants to put up an option for babysitting, well, that teen could have up to 3 orders for babysitting. Somebody wants to do lawn work, they can take up to 3 orders for lawn work, and then they get those done. And that's another way for us to create more buying power for this event. And the same thing for sports tickets and specialized items. If anyone wants to donate, Texans tickets or Rockets tickets or Astros tickets like they've done in previous years, those will continue to be auctioned off. In years past, I've always done something humiliating to myself, and I've tried not to do that every single year. And a couple of years ago, some of the shepherds volunteered to have their head shaved. And I'll tell you, the more time ticks, the less inviting it is for my head to be shaved. It's no longer a selling price. It's no longer a selling incentive because my hair is growing less and less. That's the cost of getting older. But what we will have is a dunk a shepherd. Some of our shepherds have offered to sit in a dunk booth for 30 minutes, and we will sell tickets for people to throw balls at a target to dunk some of our shepherds. It'd be $5 for 3 throws. You would be able to do a cash or card option for purchase. And like I said, our shepherds will rotate every 30 minutes, and the dunk booth will be there from open to close. So I think that's going to be a fun element to add that I think a lot of people would like to be a part of. So you're probably asking, what is the incentive for my teen to donate an auction item? 2 years ago, when I started leading the youth ministry, we got rid of the accounts where kids save money individually in accounts versus, hey, you donate an item for an auction item, hey, you'll get things free and you'll get things even in price reduction. So if you donate an item, all teens will receive a price reduction for the fall retreat. I'll tell you a little bit later what that's going to be. Free admission to Soul Link 2022, just like we did in Soul Link 2020, and the price reduction to the spring retreat as well. I'll talk about that. And so once you put up an auction item, that money will come back to your team in way more than the amount of the $25 offered. So that's my commitment to you as parents, is that we use that money to pour into your teens to attend different camps, to attend different events that can pour back into them. Moving ahead to our senior celebration 2021. I mean, last year, our church really came out in amazing ways, and those seniors really had 2.5 months of going through a shutdown. What our class of 2021 going through a whole year of things being a little different, and they've adapted beautifully through it. It hasn't been easy. Many of them struggle, which they should. But I really want our congregation to come out and support them as much as possible. And so we'll continue with the celebration parade. We had that last year, and it went well. I mean, I would say we probably had more people attend that celebration parade than they would normally a normal event that takes place. And so we'll continue the celebration parade on Saturday, May 29th. Seniors will have their tables up, and you can have blessings of gifts, and as well as we will have a senior dinner, for family only of the seniors, of the graduates. That Sunday, May 30th, will be Senior Sunday, and our seniors will be honored during the worship service. More details about that will be coming out, but now we've gone from having a Senior Sunday to a Senior Weekend, and I actually like that, and I hope that's something that even though we've stumbled upon during the season of COVID, that we can continue even as we progress into the years coming. As we transition to the summer, many of you all know Ben Brock is going to be our intern this summer. Ben Brock is a former youth member himself. He attends Harding University, and he will start the first week of June. It was very important for me to find someone who lives here locally in Houston. It'd be very difficult to bring somebody in who's not from Houston to live with the family throughout the course of the summer versus having someone who is living in Houston, but also understands our youth group and the direction our youth group is going. So I'm excited about Ben being here. The summer study for the summer will be the letters of Paul: First Thessalonians, First and Second Corinthians, Romans, Philippians, Colossians, Philemon, and Ephesians. The purpose of that study will be to give an overview of the background, textual focus, and context of what the Holy Spirit is speaking. So it won't necessarily be a line-by-line study, but more of an overview to teach the kids what is the Holy Spirit speaking through Paul, and how can we take what Paul is writing to these churches and internalize that for us and understand how we can continue to grow as children of God. So it will be an 8-week study throughout the course of the summer, and it will primarily be taught by Ben, who will be our intern. Moving on into our summer camps, we have the ACU leadership camps. Kadish is for high school and Impulse is for middle school. You've probably seen this communication in my emails that have been coming out. The cost is $345 at registration right now if you did not either sign up before the February 1st cutoff. It is only a $100 deposit to register, and travel and lunch is covered. I will tell you that the ACU leadership camps are a true blessing for our teens. It helps fast track relationships with God and with others. And I'm truly looking forward to the opportunity for our kids to be a part of this. So if you haven't registered your kid for Kadish or Impulse, or you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know, because I would love to get as many of our teens to attend that as possible. I'm very thankful for the amount of people have already registered their team. So it looks like we'll have a good, healthy group for both of those camps. But if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Then we have Trek. Trek is going to be July 24th through July 31st. It is for high school only, those who have completed the 9th grade going to our graduates. And we have 17 teen spots available. Between Sally and I and our intern, we have 17 spots available for teens. And I've had a lot of high school teens already tell me that they are attending this camp. Now, them saying they're going and their parents saying that they're going are two different things. So we will have a meeting for high school parents only, and even the high school teens to attend, to ask questions, and to go more in depth about this. It is $450 to attend. The cost to Wilderness Expeditions is $405. So only $45 extra that is being paid, and that's pretty much to cover gas. Driving from Houston, Texas to Salada, Colorado, back and forth can add up. So that covers, pretty much going to cover the gas. The registration link will be sent out on March 22nd, but here's the great thing about this trip. Once you pay that $450, everything you're covered. All the meals will be covered and the travel will be covered by the youth accounting. So you don't have to worry about paying for breakfast or lunch or dinner. That's all going to be covered by the Bammel Youth Accounting. And so if you have questions about this, don't hesitate to reach out. We will start to work out for this probably in April to get prepared because it is a hard trip, but deeply, deeply spiritual, deeply enriching. So I'm looking forward to having a good, healthy number of kids attend this Trek trip. Summer Hangouts. We had this going in June before there was a huge spike in Houston, and then we shut that down for safety concerns. But we will be having Summer Hangouts outdoors during the weekday on the Bammel campus during 9 camp weeks. So, for example, when we're at Kadesh, we won't have anything going on that week. When we're at Impulse, we won't have anything going on that week. And those will look like movie nights, game nights, different spiritual formation activities. And those will be things that I look forward to our kids being a part of. So you might be asking yourself, I haven't seen anything about BBC. For those who don't know, BBC is called Bammel Bible Camp. And the reason why is the company who that we will be going to BBC with, the campsite. It's a great campsite. But I'm not particularly fond of their safety protocols that they have there. And so we will not be having a BBC this summer. But what we will be doing is incorporating a lot of the resources that we do during BBC. And we'll be doing that throughout the summer on our weekday hangouts. So I don't think we'll miss that the experience of what we're doing. We will miss the time of being away, but we're going to sprinkle that into the weekday hangout events. But we also are going to add something, which is a fall retreat. The picture that you just saw earlier was from our fall state retreat in the fall of 2019. And we had a very, very high attendance for that. And so what I would like to do is we're going to take our kids away for Labor Day weekend, September 3rd to September 5th. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to enfold incoming 6th graders into the youth group, as well as to kickstart the school year, coming off the summertime high and then trying to be enfolding new kids into a youth group. Seniors had just left, getting everybody back into the swing of things. I think this is a good bridge between the summer and going into the school year. So like I said, Labor Day weekend is going to be at Lake Tomahawk in Livingston, Texas. The cost is only going to be $25. In years past, we've had retreats cost as high as $90. Last year, the winter retreat that we had in 2020 was $45. Was $45. Well, I've cut that down to $25, and that's going to be the price for the spring retreat next year as well, $25. My goal is to make sure that cost is not an issue for people to attend this event and to pour in that money that we receive during Bammel Night Live into our kids attending camps and events. So that's very, very important for me. But And to make this worthwhile, I do need volunteers. I need parent volunteers to serve as small group leaders, 4 male and 4 female. And I know many of you say, well, my kid doesn't like me around. That is a lie. They say that to your face, but they don't. Secretly, they want you around. And so I'm looking for the opportunity to get more parents involved, not just at the fall retreat, but even in things that we're going to be doing in the fall and spring of next year. For those who don't know, small groups is a very, very important thing for me. I think that's where the fabric of your group becomes even closer. That's where relationships grow. And that's where you start to see genuineness and transparency and vulnerability, where the Holy Spirit can definitely work within a group of people. So small groups is a very important thing for me personally. And I think it's an important thing for our youth group and even our congregation. And so as I said, tribe groups are going to be kicking off on March 21st, but in the fall, our tribe groups will transition back to their smaller groups. You probably look on the screen and notice that I'm separating the 12th graders, the seniors, and I think it's important for them to be led in a different way, to have conversations of a different nature, to be equipped for their next season of life separately than their conversations with 10th and 11th graders. So we have 4 tribe groups, and we will need adult leaders for these groups as well. Spiritual formation through studying scripture and having open, life-giving conversations is very, very important. So that's one form of small group that we will have, as we call them, connected groups, going back to our core values. That's one of those groups that's going to kick off in the fall. The next is going to be our community groups. We will have community groups separated by middle school and high school and by gender. So you'll have 4 total groups: middle school boys, middle school girls, high school boys, high school girls. I think it's a great way to pour into our teens differently when we can have them separated. And it's also a great discipleship opportunity for our teens to invite friends. These community groups will primarily be fun activities that are created to build harmony and to continue to build a genuineness in relationship. And they're going to meet quarterly. Each group will need 3 to 5 adult leaders based on the group sizing. And just a couple of gathering examples: camping, community service, going to main event, doing different things to spark some relationship building, I think is extremely, extremely important. And so that's something that we're also going to kick off in the fall. In the new year of January 2022, yes, I get ahead of myself sometimes, but I think the vision is important. We're going to start covenant groups. I am part of a covenant group, and it has been very a blessing to my life. And I believe that we need to do something to continue to shrink our group size for our kids to even grow more comfortable, but also have an outlet where they can share and be transparent and vulnerable in their relationship. And so each grade group, 6th through 12th grade, will be separated by gender, will serve as a covenant group. That's 14 total groups. Each covenant group will need at least 3 adult leaders. So as you can see, a lot of adult parent involvement with this. I truly believe that our youth group needs more than myself and Araceli to be pouring into our kids. They need other voices. They need other forms of adult presence in their life outside of their parents and their youth minister. So I believe that's very, very important. Those groups are to meet monthly, and the adult leaders of those groups will schedule the outings and when with the other covenant group parents. And so adult leaders plan to travel with that group yearly through their senior graduation. And so if you have a teen currently right now in 6th grade, next year when this starts and they're in 7th grade, you will be traveling with that group from 7th grade all the way through their senior year of graduation. Now, if you're a senior, if you're a parent of a senior next year, then you have it easy. You got one year to go through that group with. But I think this is going to be an extremely important part for our youth group, not just for our teens, but also our parents. My goal is to have parents connected with our youth group in some fashion or form. I think that's extremely important for the health and viability of any organization, is to have as much involvement as you possibly can. Those groups are to be a safe place to grow, share, and experience community, but in my opinion, it's the deepest form of spiritual growth. I'm really not concerned with the group size. If I have a group of, 10th graders and there's 4 girls in that group, that grade group, that is perfectly fine. That's a great group to start. Um, but through our life groups and through our community groups, those are going to be things to invite our friends into. And as our friends get comfortable and into the fabric and DNA of the Bammel Youth Group, then they can be enfolded into a covenant group. But this is a safe place for our kids to be able to share and discuss. All of these groups, tribe group, community group, and covenant group, will be supported by the Bammel Youth Group financially, as well with tools and resources for conversations to take place. So I'm really looking forward to enfolding these new things into our youth group. That's come to the end of it all, guys. I hope you've had time to watch this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out directly. You can email me or you can just give me a call, and I'll be sure to answer those questions for you as thoroughly as possible. If you have anything that you need, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, y'all have a great day.